Pearl, Aero Pearl, naku, nakalimutan ko na.
You just requested the company documents, ma'am. And we have the...
Yung Aero Pearl.
Challenger Aero...
Yung Challenger Aero, ang sabi na nabago kasi yung website ng Challenger Aero, kaya nalilito kami. Biglang nabago pagkatapos ng hearing. Hinahanap ko wala na doon. Sabi, the company arranged for the flight. We were able to get a screenshot of the article. So, palabas lang yung screenshot ng Challenger. Ayun Ayan, Challenger Aero Air. Inimbitahan rin namin ang piloto. Wala naman po rito. Ayan, Challenger Aero Air. Baka yung SEC may alam kayo. Kasi nung second hearing narito kayo, pero ang problema, sabi niyo hindi pa na-request yung pangalan.
We have already forwarded to the Secretariat.
Kung sino may-ari po? At sila bang may-ari ng aeroplano or they just arranged the flight? Nalilito po kami.
I just have the documents concerning the incorporators of the... Per articles of incorporation, ma'am,
Siya ba may-ari?
we don't have the facts about the airplane or the assets of the corporation.
Ano yung Asian Pearl Aero? Yung unang hiningi. Yun daw yung registered owner?
We only have Challenger Aero Air Corporation, ma'am, and Challenger Aero Aviation Pampanga. We will verify with our if.
Yes, I think the first set, Asian Pearl, was the first company that we asked you to check. Nauna pa yun
I will verify with my staff here.
Okay, kasi ang mahirap dito, wala yung CAAP, wala yung DOTC. Ngayon, sinabi ni Secretary John Vic na the Office of the President ang nagbayad para sa jet. Tama ba to o hindi? Meron bang pwedeng sumagot nito? Dahil wala po si Secretary John Vic. At marami sa ating mga kababayan nagtatanong kung group effort ito, chismis rin ba to? Baka sina General Torre, sina Prosecutor Fadulion, nandun kayo sa Villamor. Alam ba ninyo kung paano itong eroplanong ito kinuha? O charter ba to? Ano ba nangyari rito?
Ma'am, kasi, darating na naman tayo rito. Itong eroplanong to, nagagamit po ng presidente to.
Oo, ginamit ulit. Pagkatapos nung pag-aresto ni Presidente Duterte,
hindi ho namin
ginamit
pwedeng
sa
pag-usapan.
Ilocos.
Hindi ho namin pwedeng pag-usapan yung travel arrangements ng presidente. These are national security matters. I think that we should respect, I don't think that we should really talk about this because this is...
Kita po ng tao,
ang travel arrangement po ng presidente in the past, the present, and the future.
Privilege, nakabulat-lat sa lahat ng dyan.
Pero yun nga, sinasabi ko you cannot expect answers from us pagdating po rito. You cannot expect answers from us because pakikinabangan to nasusunod ng Pangulo. Ginagamit ngayon ng Pangulo. Sabihin natin, hindi ho dapat pinag-uusapan. Kasi nga, we hold the life of the President as sacred.
Pero Secretary John Vic already said it was chartered and paid for by the Office of the President.
I don't know if he has personal knowledge of that.
How much was paid kaya?
Well, that's speculative, ma'am.
Meron bang official receipt? Meron bang billing?
We cannot go into the details of travel arrangements because these are national security implications.
The request was made in March.
I think we should respect national security, ma'am. I think it's imperative.
If you'll allow me to just ask, because this has already been divulged to the public, it's hardly secret. If it was national security at stake, it should never have been spoken about, but it's all over the media. And it came from government. That they only knew about the request, as you said, on March 11. sa umaga ng March 11, nalaman ninyo yung Interpol. Pagkatapos ito, na-charter sa ilang oras lamang. Ando na ba yung eroplano nung nandun kayo sa Villamor, General Torre? Kasi abala kayo na isakay si Presidente Duterte. Nag-aabang na ba yung eroplano? Anong oras siya nandun? Kasi nagmamadali kayo para isakay na, di ba?
I really don't know about the plane, ma'am. I only saw it around after mga mid-afternoon. Na tinuro sa akin, hindi ko pa sigurado, ma'am, kung yun nga aeroplano ang gagamitin niya.
So, bale, alas 3 ng umaga, na-procure na lahat ito. Kasi ang haba ng proseso natin, ilang araw, ilang buwan yan. I don't know what mode of procurement, pero sinabi, chinarter. Ang bilis naman, di ba? Ilang oras lang, sa hapon nandun na. Kaya nakakapagtaka. At as mentioned by Secretary Remulla, the security arrangements for the President are very, very stringent and have to be vetted time and time again, repeatedly. So the question still remains. The government clearly knows who owns the plane, and it's unclear how much they paid, what procurement process they determined, and who are the shareholders of said companies.
So, Senator, ma'am, these have national security implications. I'd rather not talk about it.
Yes, national security involves information that hasn't come out in the public, pero ito talagang binulat.
But it's still national security, ma'am. Even if it came out in the public inadvertently, it still involves, still has severe national security implications.
Okay, it came out in Senator John Vic's Pinky Web interview, so maraming nakapanood. Ang OFW naman natin, andito ang ating Secretary Kakdak. In the last hearing as well as today's hearing, we're all terribly worried about the OFWs, and the OFWs overseas are terribly worried about themselves. If the administration can arrest a former president without a warrant issued by a Filipino court, paano na lang daw sila? If they're suspected of having committed a crime overseas, can anyone from DMW, wala naman yung OWA, ipaliwanag lang ninyo ang proseso kung isang OFW natin pinagdudahan o pinagsuspetsahan na sila ang nadali sa ang gumawa ng isang krimen, paano ba tine-turn over sa foreign jurisdiction yon? Itine-turn over ba ng embassy o ng DMW yung suspected Pilipino or sa DFA? Tine-turn over ba sa gobyerno? Paano ba yun?
Madam Chair, meron po tayong set protocols and safeguards in the event na an OFW faces arrest in the host country. Konteksto po nito, yung OFW ay nasa host country. An OFW is somebody who has remunerated work and is not a citizen or permanent resident of the host country. Meron na po tayong mga procedures, ma'am. First and foremost, meron tayong welfare assistance, so mga welfare checks. Kung yung
tinatanong ko lang, paano tini-turn over kung naakusahan ng krimen, suspected, tapos tini-turn over sa foreign jurisdiction? Paano nangyayari yun?
Ma'am, yung mechanisms po ng host country will come into play.
Depende sa bansa. Yusek De Vega seems to be raising his hand po.
Quickly, madam, because they're in a foreign country, they're under the jurisdiction of the host authorities. So if they commit a crime abroad, it will be the host authorities who will arrest them or prosecute them. And as Secretary Kakdak was saying, then we have our rules to give them due assistance, whether it's a lawyer, of course, jail visits. And so it's very regular. It's been done.
So tutulungan pa rin natin at bibigyan ng abogado.
Opo.
So kasi natatakot sila dahil hindi nga pinapasok si VP Sara. Natatakot ngayon yung mga OFW natin paano sila kukuha ng abogado? Hindi pala pinapayagan, miski dating Pangulo.
Well, madam, just to give it a good example, there were people rallying for President Duterte in Qatar, and we got them out.
That's right. So what safeguards are there to ensure that our OFWs, their rights to due process, which weren't recognized apparently, and their liberty of abode are respected overseas. Kasi sumailalim na nga sila sa ibang bansa, sa batas ng ibang bansa. Maipagtatanggol ba natin sila? Natatakot na sila eh.
The safeguards were passed by no other than the distinguished members of the Congress since 1995 with the Overseas Migrant Workers Act, and then now complemented by RA 11641, which created the DMW. The DMW has its action fund for OFWs, and we have our own assistance national funds for foreign-based Filipinos who are not OFWs.
Ilan pa ba ang nakakulong sa ibang bansa?
Ma'am, by our count, and our lawyers are handling these cases, around 1,198 by our count, and these are active cases handled by our lawyers.
Yes, at pinipilit ko nga ako personally na yung service of sentence gawin reciprocal na dito na sa Pilipinas, pero hindi pa nagagawa yan. So alam natin na kapag Pilipino na parusahan sa abroad o kahit papano naipit sa gera nung panahon ng yung truck driver sa Iraq-Iran, naalala ko talagang pinagpilitan natin na mag-ipon ng blood money, pagkatapos nakipagkalas pa tayo sa Alliance of the Willing para makuha yung isang truck driver. So talagang lahat ng effort, kahit na-convict na, kahit criminal na nga ang tukoy, pinipilit pa rin natin iuwi. Kaya ngayon, natatakot sila, yung dating Pangulo na matanda at may sakit, bakit tinangay sa ibang bansa? Takot na sila. Anong masasabi natin?
Ma'am, what we have po are mechanisms in which to defend our OFWs, more particularly with the DMW, once they are faced with cases overseas in the host countries. Nandun po ang legal retainers natin, ang lawyers natin on hand. Kung sila'y inaresto, pupuntahan sa police station, as what happened in the case of the Qatar 17. Based on the directive of the President, magkaroon ng jail visits. So nangyari po ng jail visits doon, and welfare assistance, and of course yung immediate release na na-secure sa kanila.
Okay, so